Hey everybody, it's meteorologist Brad Panovich with your ski southeast forecast, and it's good news. We've got cold and natural snow, a great stretch of weather. After kind of a mild stretch, we're starting to see things flip back, and let's get right to the details because you can see we've got the cold front moving through overnight Tuesday into early Wednesday. There's going to be a nice northwest flow event. You can see this really setting up nicely, but boy, is it windy. If you're in the mountains anytime over the next 2 days, these winds could gust as high as 40 and 50 miles per hour, so near blizzard conditions, especially up towards Snowshoe and Winter Place and Wisp, but some pretty good snow, and more importantly, cold temperatures, so snowmaking and natural snow will be around for the next couple of days. By far the coldest pattern we've seen since really the early part of December. So we'll fast forward to late this week. This is going into the weekend. We'll have cold air in place here across the southeast, and then we'll have another system heading our way from the west. Now, perfect setup, this would drive down here and we get much more snow back towards the west, but we're still going to see snow in many locations. I'm just a little bit worried about North Carolina seeing a snow to rain kind of mix at some point as we go through the weekend, but we're going to see natural snow. That's the best part about all this. Well, how much snow are we talking about? So I'm going to take this forecast out into next week, and just be ready. This is going to be exciting, especially for folks in Virginia and West Virginia. Let's play this out. I'm going to go real slow. Here's our northwest flow event through Thursday and Friday. So we'll stop this on Friday night. Let's go Friday night about 9 p.m. So you can see our northwest flow event. In North Carolina, you'll get an inch, maybe two. But again, from Wisp to Snowshoe down to Winter Place, yes, we're going to get maybe 2 to 4, 4 to 6 inches, some decent snows. Let's go into the weekend. Here comes our system in from the west. You can see the snow developing across Missouri, northern Arkansas, Tennessee, and then moving into the Carolinas, and boom! Look at this thing. I'm going to go in close. Let me play this. There we go. So we'll go into North Carolina first, kind of show you the setup there. Look at that. If you look closely from Grayson County, Virginia, back down towards Mount Mitchell, right in there, you're looking in the 7 to 8 inch range. And this is through next Tuesday, by the way. So this is basically, 7 days from today, going into next week. We'll go up into southwest Virginia, and you can see kind of the same range, maybe 7, 8 inches of snow. And then we'll get up there towards Snowshoe. Snowshoe's looking at probably a good dumping right near Pocahontas County, maybe closer to a foot of snow, because the thing to remember about this storm, it's going to have a combination of some synoptic snow with the storm, and then on the backside we'll get some northwest flow. So there's the wider view. So what's going to happen is as the low moves out in this general direction, we'll get a big swath of snow, but then on the backside, cold air spilling in will give us a round of northwest flow snow, probably Monday into Tuesday time frame. So as we look at the forecast, setting it up here, you can see the snow chances for Wednesday across all of the southeast, and that's primarily going to be northwest flow snow. But it stays below freezing for snowmaking, even 24 hours a day possibly, not just at night. And then this weekend into Monday, both locations, we're probably going to see a pretty good amount of natural snow. Now down here in North Carolina, Tennessee, it might be marginal snowmaking temperatures. I'm going to throw that in there because I think at higher elevations, it's going to be close enough, and you're going to try to make up. But the good news, this pattern right here is going to set the stage for amazing conditions going into Martin Luther King weekend. So you can see we're going to set the stage for some pretty good ski weather as we get towards the big weekend. So let's go into the long range. We'll talk about the long range forecast here, kind of setting up. Is the cold air going to stick around? Are we going to see it last through Martin Luther King weekend or beyond? Let me get right to that, and I'll show you the long range pattern here. So you can see I'm going to loop this first to kind of let it play, and I'll stop it a couple times here. The one thing you notice is we're starting to see the northern branch of the jet stream get much more active. We're seeing little squiggles in the northern branch. The southern branch is what's been bringing us all the rain, but the fact that we're getting the northern branch involved means there's going to be some cold air. Now, this isn't Arctic blast, this isn't polar vortex setup, but it's seasonably cool, so that means there will be snow at higher elevations. But you can see the polar vortex weakening over Hudson Bay and starting to get a little bit further south. This is going into next Friday, so not this upcoming Friday, but the following Friday. You can see all that cold air up there. The fact that that's positioning right there is a real good sign in the long range. Now, one of the things I think people mess up with the polar vortex never really comes down into the U.S., but what it does, pieces of it come down into Canada, especially over Hudson Bay, and it acts like a pinwheel. So what happens is, think of this as like a pinwheel. This isn't a sun. Think of it as like a water wheel, and what happens is each little bucket turns around, dumps cold air south. So as this spins counterclockwise, each little bucket scoops up cold air and throws it south. So this is kind of like a big cog or a wheel that spins down the cold air. So when the polar vortex gets over Canada, that gives us more of an opportunity to see cold air. When the polar vortex is way up here, that cold air spins through Canada. When it's further south, it allows it to spin down into the southeast, and that's what sets up our stages for cold and stormy weather. So overall, this pattern is really, really looking good for later in the month into February. It just took us a week and a half to 2 weeks, really from about after Christmas to now. We kind of were in the thaw, but now things are flipping back, and it's looking promising. And this weekend, I think, will set the table for a great ski weekend, Martin Luther King weekend. No matter what happens, even though it looks cold, if we had mild weather next week, we'd be fine with this pattern over the next 6 to 7 days. So, as always, think snow, get excited. Big storm heading our way this weekend. I'm going to do another update on Thursday night, and we should have some updated totals, and we can look even farther into the future. Have a great night, everybody.